Okay, welcome to this showcase video going through the Substance Painter text tool that I've developed. I've already loaded it into Substance Painter, so if you don't know how to load in tools and alphas and stuff into Substance Painter, I've done a separate video, so go watch that and then come back to this. This video is just going to run through the features of this tool. So I've got it loaded in, I'm in the projection view, and on the right hand side here you can see some of the tool settings. We have a lot. I'm going to go through them one by one. Essentially, you got font color, which allows you to change literally the font color. You got font, which allows you to change through some of the fonts that I've already selected. These are fonts that should come with most people's machines. I've picked fonts that are on my machine by default, which is Windows 10. If you're using Windows 10, you should have access to all these fonts. If you're using another device like an Apple or a Linux machine, that might be different for you, but I have included a custom font feature in this tool which will allow you to load in your own fonts if you want. I'll explain this feature in more detail later on, and I've made a separate video explaining how to actually import your own fonts into this tool, which is pretty cool. You can also specify the font types. You got italic, bold, and regular, and then you got the text field. This is where you can literally type whatever you want to say and project onto your model. You've got font size, which just changes the font of the size of the font. You got text transform options. These are a couple of options you may not find useful, but you might have this rare model where you're trying to project something and you might need this feature eventually, so it might come in handy. You've got tiling, which is kind of cool. You've got flipping, which I've always just wished was a thing. I think in the new one it is now, but hey, it's in here now. Text offset, which just offsets the text. Rotation. At the moment you have safe rotation turned on by default in the tool. Essentially what this means is it's just going to rotate it every 90 degrees. If you turn it off, then you have free rotation like that. So that's pretty cool. So let's hide down that text transform, and down here we have a bunch of settings, and a lot of these there's two deformers and the rest are font modifications. So I'll go through the first one, which is skew text, which just literally allows you to skew the text in funky ways, which might come in handy. And you have different settings like this, and you can change how it does it, which is pretty neat. I'm going to just turn this off. You can stack all these features together, so you can have them all on at the same time and it will do the correct thing, which is pretty cool as well, which I'll show later. You've got a stroke, which is literally adds a stroke to the font. You can go either out like we're doing now, or you can go into the negative values and it will do the opposite effect. You have full control over the color as well, so you can make it green if you want. I'm going to turn the stroke off, and then we got drop shadow. By default the drop shadow color is red. That's just what I've set it to, so you can kind of see what it's doing, but you can change that to whatever color you want. You can have it black, but you're not really going to see it on my material. So let's turn, you got the angle as well. Essentially you got similar controls as in Photoshop with these features. And then you got symmetry, which kind of just does a mirror effect, kind of neat. You have full control over that too, which is cool. And then you've got a bend, which kind of just deforms it in a circle, and you have full control over this, so you can change the tiling amount and it will kind of affect the deform in a weird way. You can change it this way. You can get some really trippy effects. You can change the offsets as well, so you can really get some funky stuff, and the rotations of course as well. And then down here you got use custom font, which I've gone through in a separate video, so if you want to learn more about that feature, go watch that video. But essentially what this feature allows you to do is load in a custom font that you might only have on your computer, or let's say you made a font and you want to use it in this, then you can. However, the only caveat with this is that you have to have Substance Designer in order to set up the input. It's really easy, and I go through step by step in the video explaining this feature in more detail. And then, like I said before, you can literally stack all of these if you want, and have some really neat effects going on. So yeah, that's the Substance Painter text tool.